All right, I'm here with Danny Heifetz and Danny Kelly. I think it was only right that we followed up a 4.5-hour podcast on maybe one of the greatest movies ever made, Pulp Fiction, with Dodgeball, with the three of us. Dodgeball, a true underdog story. This movie came out 20 years ago, 2004. Heifetz and I believe, were 10.
Yeah.
And DK, you were 20? 21?
I was in college, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to start with that. Did you see this movie in theaters? Because obviously you didn't, right, Heifetz?
No.
Yeah,
no.
Did you see it in theaters?
I don't remember actually specifically the first time I saw it. I just know it was within like a string of some of the all-time best comedies in that was the golden era of comedies in at least in my life.
It was probably so fun for you because you like from like 18 to like 25, you had the whole like Adam Sandler to Will Ferrell run.
Yeah. And I was like in the exact right age group for those movies. I feel like, so this was 2004, I would have been 22.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you first see it? I have no memory of when I first saw it. I just know I've seen it 100 times.
Definitely 10 or 11. I learned so much. This was like my Rosetta Stone for adulthood. Like the concepts I learned from this movie.
That explains so much.
100% learned what lesbians were from this movie.
Oh, wow. I 100% learned what bisexuals were from this movie.
Wow.
100%.
Like when I remember in health class in like 11th grade in high school, and they were teaching us stuff, and bisexuality came up, and I was like, oh yeah, like Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really wild to me. That never crossed my mind, but I like that.
You were familiar with bisexuals.
I knew what it was.
At 22 years old.
Oh, yeah. That's what college is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a real great time because it was like late 90s, early 2000s was like the frat pack guys. I know they don't even like being called that, but it's like Stiller, Farrell, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, Jack Black, and then like Paul Rudd was kind of in both, and then he went on to like the Apatow guys. But this was just like the era of turning every like classic sports movie trope to like screwball level 11.
Right.
And they really did like every sport. Like if you go through it, they did racing with Talladega Nights, golf with Happy Gilmore, soccer, kicking and screaming. They did wrestling, Nacho Libre. They remade Bad News Bears. They remade Longest Yard to do baseball and football. Semi-pro, basketball, Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, yeah.
Sneaky underrated. They did ping pong with Balls of Fury, if you remember that.
Yeah, I had that on my list.
Ice skating, Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
And then they did Dodgeball. And it kind of ended, I feel like, in like 06 was Talladega Nights. And then it kind of was like Balls of Fury 07 and then Semi-Pro 08. And then it kind of died. And then it kind of moved from like dudes in their 30s who are losers and like playing sports and like more like slapsticky like SNL characters. And then it was like, now we're just going to stoners who want to get laid.
Yeah.
And then it was just like the Apatow era. It was like like Jonah Hill and all these guys were just like high schoolers trying to get laid.
Right.
And it was just like way less zany characters. I feel like these movies, I wanted to ask you guys about like the era, the Apatow era, and then the whatever you want to call this era, the Dodgeball era. Which do you think is more like quotable and rewatchable? Because even though I love like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Superbad, Pineapple Express, Knocked Up, I always come back to Talladega Nights and Dodgeball as like movies that like stick in my brain more.
I was going to say the same thing. If I had to make a list of like my favorite comedies of all time, I think Dodgeball would sort of land right in the middle. It's not, like my favorite movie of all time, my favorite comedy of all time, but maybe the movie I quoted the most, like honestly, among all of these movies in college and like the years after college was this movie. There's so many really quotable lines in this movie that you can use with everything. I know we'll get into like a ton of them, but I think just the slapstickness of it, just the absurdity of the characters, Ben Stiller sort of just in his like prime, like the greatest like Ben Stiller character maybe. And so yeah, I would say, and these are just more rewatchable than the other ones.
I think these movies feel more written. Like these are more like punchline, setup, joke. And I think the Apatow movies are a bit more like loose, improvised. It's like, it's less joke focused. It's more like kind of like situationally funny. And these are more like sitcoms where it's like they're telling you when to laugh a little bit. And then like the Apatow era, it's more like mockumentary style. It's like The Office. It's like the evolution of how it went from like Friends and Seinfeld to like Parks and Rec and The Office. And I feel like these movies are actually easier to go back on. And when I rewatched this, in my head, I was like, oh, I remember maybe 10, 11 scenes from this movie. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, that's every scene in the movie. There's like no fluff. Like every scene is just jam-packed with jokes. And I remember all of them.
I feel like this is the last era of movies where the movies were the main thing you quoted with your friends, like before the internet and before social media, where even just a few years later, there's YouTube, There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's now obviously TikTok and stuff where that becomes the main source of what you're quoting. And this was the last thing before we started the transition. So to your point, like I feel like there's that meme of like guys will just sit around and for 4 hours and just
That's going to be this podcast.
Yeah, just quote Anchorman.
That's 80 minutes.
But Dodgeball's right there, though. I do think Dodgeball's right there with Anchorman as like the thing that I quoted the most growing up.
100%.
Yeah.
This movie's crazy too because it's obviously called Dodgeball, a True Underdog Story. And the movie itself, like the making of this movie is also an underdog story. Yeah. There's a great oral history that went up just a few months ago on The Ringer. It was written by Jake Kring-Schreifels. Great oral history. I recommend it. And like, so this director, his name's Rawson Marshall Thurber.
What a name.
What a name. Sounds like the name in Dodgeball. Like he would be a character in this movie. He actually is in this movie. He's the guy who throws the drink at the pirate at the end of Vegas.
Not to step on,
really? And he like flips him off?
Yeah, and he's like, screw you.
Like, that's such a random...
Go back to Treasure Island. Wait, also,
that's
not to step on picking nits, but my nit was an incredible throw. He should have been on the team.
I was like, why is he so mean?
Also, like,
what did he do?
Isn't Vegas like the last place you would be like shocked to see a guy in a costume?
Yeah, it's Las Vegas.
That's the last place I
would just got out of doing a show. Yeah.
He's like,
makes no sense.
He's like driving. He's like, he's a pirate.
But yeah, this guy, so Rawson went to USC, wrote this movie when he was in his early 20s. And then he's just like, yeah, I just wrote a spec script. I sent red dodgeballs to every studio.
I know,
that's crazy.
He stenciled on, he like spray painted on the name of the movie on a dodgeball, which is great.
I just like, this is like what people, like I was a film major when I went to college, 8-9 years ago. And like in our heads, like what Rawson did is like what everybody still thinks they can do.
Yeah.
Which like you can't, and even I think even in 04, it was still very unlikely, but he just like, everybody said no. It somehow got in front of Ben Stiller and he was like, this is kind of good. And Ben Stiller's production company was like, this is kind of funny. And then Todd Phillips was like, you should get Vince Vaughn to do it.
Yes. And he wrote it for Vince Vaughn.
And Ben Stiller.
Right.
But that is unbelievable.
Every film student's like, I'll write it for Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. I'll set it their company. And then Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn are like, yeah, I love this.
This is a true underdog story. It is kind of wild. Like, Craig, exactly right. Like, this is the sort of Hollywood dream I'm sure that every, person who's ever written a script has is like, they got like the three top guys in this movie. It was Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, and then Justin Long he had in mind too for the role of Justin. He literally named him Justin. And it just like worked out so perfectly. And I think like past that, getting the movie made was really difficult. Like apparently there was, a whole bunch of other stuff going on at the time with Fox. They were like just focused on everything else. They had to do this big table read. This is from Jake Kring-Schreifel's oral history. They had this big table read where they brought in like most of the actors that ended up being in the movie. And it was like really funny. They all played off each other really well. And that was like the reason, that was like the big push they needed to get this movie actually made.
Yeah, Fox basically said, we'll make it, but as long as Ben Stiller's salary like stays low. So Stiller took less than $1 million to make it. I just can't believe these stories are like why people are still like believe in Hollywood and like this is why people move to LA when you read a story like this.
Right.
I read the CAA book, which is more about like the 70s, 80s and the start of CAA. But those stories are always so nuts. It's always like, I was 22 years old and I walked into Mike Ovitz's office and I was like, fuck you, give me a job. And he was like, you got moxie. And now that guy's like the biggest agent in Hollywood.
Right.
And I'm like, man, this is still happening in 04. This guy got this movie made. He wrote it for Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. I think even the cast is like a little bit underdoggy outside of Vaughn and Stiller. I mean, the supporting cast, they all feel like the fifth choice for each role. It's like you have Chris Williams, Justin Long, Joel David Moore, Alan Tudyk, and Stephen Root.
Yeah.
And you're like, you compare that to movies like, Talladega Nights is filled with like SNL people. Anchorman
it's like
has everybody.
Cameos. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. They didn't even want him to direct this movie, but then I had no idea this was the same guy. Terry Tate, office linebacker.
I was blown away by this little factoid.
That blew my mind. I completely forgot that existed until I was researching this movie. That was like my favorite thing when I was 12 years old.
I had watched the entire supercut, and shout out to Jake's profile for The Ringer, which was amazing. Or just the oral history of the movie. But as soon as he wrote that, I was like, oh my God, they are shot the same way. Like this, like the comedy, but that the fact that Terry Tate video became, because they were like, oh yeah, he didn't have that much tape. The director like barely had any proof.
He was like 23 when he wrote it.
He hadn't really directed anything. They basically were like, can you direct comedy? Can you direct, where's the proof, I guess, that you have the ability to like shoot a comedy in the way that we want it to be shot? And it was like, oh, this Terry Tate office linebacker thing, which by the way, got picked up
Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, it was like one of the best Super Bowl commercials of all time. They turned it into a series.
You make some more. You know that, baby.
And I can't believe he was the one who came up with that. That's amazing.
Hey, Janice.
That's a long distance call, Doug.
Could you imagine being 23 and directing the best Super Bowl commercial?
Dude, I know, unbelievable. I just like, that blew my mind. I completely forgot about Terry Tate. Such a good idea. I can't believe nothing else came of that. Like, they didn't.
What was it, like Reebok commercial or something?
Yeah.
And it is crazy that I really can't get over that he just graduated film school, did Terry Tate's Super Bowl commercial. It's the best Super Bowl commercial, and then he just made Dodgeball.
You know, Hollywood used to be the best. But yeah, so this movie came out. It came out the same weekend as The Terminal, a Spielberg movie with Tom Hanks, and everybody was like, "Dodgeball's got no shot." This was like the $18 million budget. Terminal was $60 million. They thought it was going to be like a distant second place. Not only did it beat The Terminal, it killed The Terminal. The Terminal ended up being a flop. Dodgeball made a ton of money. It actually made. Here's what's crazy about Dodgeball, and again, speaks to why it is. I think it's an underdog rewatchable. This movie made twice as much money as Anchorman.
Really?
That's crazy.
It made the same amount as Talladega Nights. And yet I don't think people put it in that category. But when you ask, oh, have you seen Dodgeball? It's like, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
It just was like the timing of everything, and then it went on. And it was like, I think they had, and I'm reading about how they were really worried about that movie Terminal going into the weekend. They're like, oh, we'd be happy if we get like a little bit.
Yeah,
of,
I mean, Spielberg and Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
That in 2004. That's like the worst thing you could possibly go up against.
I just put myself in their shoes. Like during that weekend, they're like starting to get the numbers, and they're like, whoa, we've got something special here. This is amazing. And
2-for-1 switcheroo.
Yeah, they were like driving around and like popping into all the theaters on the opening weekend.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And like, which I guess is a thing. I didn't know that people did that.
I love that Spielberg is the real life White Goodman. That they're just trying to like the Terminal is Globo chip.
I'm going to buy out your little movie, LaFleur. The only other thing I wanted to hit before we do categories is just like Stiller and Vaughn. Stiller, who I think is also underrated by my generation. I think Bill's generation and Sean and Chris, when they typically do their rewatchables, I think they have more of a respect for Stiller because of kind of what he did before he kind of became a movie star, his show and all that stuff. And yeah, I also think that Will Ferrell kind of became the guy from this era, and everybody just goes to Will Ferrell. I'm willing to say that when Stiller plays like a screwball character, like Straight Man Stiller, I think is fine. But
Something
I think
About Mary.
Along Came Polly. I think Wacky Stiller is honestly right there with Will Ferrell.
I totally agree. Like you put the sideburns on him in Starsky and Hutch, or Zoolander, like you need something weird about him.
Happy Gilmore.
He's the Christian Wood meme with Shaq, and he's like, I wasn't familiar with your
100%.
game. Like, because I mean, we weren't born yet when he had the show.
No.
Like the sketch show. But I 100% agree. Like this performance, this character is as good as any of the dumb Will Ferrell characters of the entire century. Maybe it's like a tier below Ron Burgundy, but it's up there with honestly anything else.
Well, it's funny that you say that. It's like your generation underrates him. I feel like in that era, in that time, he was, to me and all my friends, like an A-list guy. Like he was one of the top comics or whatever, comedians.
I mean, he was like prolific. He had 4 movies come out in 2004. It was like Meet the Fockers, Dodgeball, Starsky and Hutch, and one other I'm forgetting. I mean, I think people were getting sick of Ben Stiller.
Anchorman. He was an
Anchorman.
Also, he's cameo king too. He's like Tony Wonder in Arrested Development, which is like out of control.
Yes.
Like he's the Anchorman.
He always has funny, he always has funny like mustache or beard in every movie. I was thinking he has almost the exact same mustache in this movie as he does in the Happy Gilmore. He's like, oh, now your fingers hurt? Or oh, now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty.
Anybody else's fingers hurt? Yeah, the White Goodman character is. Have you guys seen Heavyweights?
Yeah, he's good at that.
He's basically just like Tony Perkis. He basically just like turned that up. And he's so ripped in this movie. Stiller was ripped.
He
for
had
like
no body hair.
Stiller was kind of ripped for like 10 years. From Heavyweights, he was ripped. Through Dodgeball, he was ripped, and then Tropic Thunder in 2008, ripped.
Yeah, he is pretty ripped.
Yeah. Kind of impressive.
He's like low-key Daniel Day-Lewis. Like he transforms his body. He gets really into the character. He like got all his body shaved for this movie, and I think he did a bunch of tanning. I like when in the beginning of the movie gets in, he's like, "I want a bird."
That's like me in June every year. I'm like, it's summertime. Let's get a base coat.
Turn it up, Reggie.
Turn it up, Reggie. I want a bird.
I want a bird.
It's also like he goes in with a full outfit. He's gonna get horrible tan lines.
Yeah.
Why isn't he just like shorts?
He wears like the bib. It's like the, that's like a bike. Back in the day, it's like what bikers would wear. It's like the bib thing or like wrestlers. And he's just like, I want to burn.
He's got the feathered hair.
Feathered and lethal.
Oh my God.
And then Vaughn, who is kind of always Vince Vaughn, but we love that about him. He does Dodgeball right after he does Wedding Crashers. I think he's a little better in Wedding Crashers. I'm not gonna lie. I think Vaughn's underplaying this character a little bit in this movie. It almost feels like he doesn't know if the movie's gonna be good.
I think what he said in Jake's piece was that everyone else was so zany that he felt like his character had to be the normal person. Man. Yeah, he's the straight guy in all the scenes.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think
he's a little underselling it.
Rewatching this movie, none of the things you quote are him.
No.
Except for like two things. Like he is really just everyone else's. I think that to your point about everyone else being like the fifth choice, I think he's elevating everyone. And then everyone in Jake's piece was basically saying that like they felt that he was elevating their game. But he's like the Draymond, like had, he had like 4 assists and 4 points, but like 12 rebounds.
8.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that actually, his plus minus was 28. You're like, okay. So
exactly.
He really helped the game here.
But he's got like charisma. The Peter LaFleur character is exactly who it was in Wedding Crashers, which he did the next year.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's like winking at people. There's like the scene in the car wash where he's like, hello, purple, or whatever. It's like that to me is like Jeremy from Wedding Crashers. It's like the same exact character. There was actually times where he says some of the exact same things that he says in Wedding Crashers. I wrote this down because I just thought it was interesting. He's like, he's flirting with Kate, the main character in Dodgeball, and he's like, oh, I'm so stupid. And he says almost the exact same thing in Wedding Crashers. He's like, I'm all over his radar. I'm so stupid. So it's almost like the exact same character, which, by the way, is I think just Vince Vaughn in real life.
Totally. Yeah. And he did Old School right before Dodgeball, which again, like kind of similar character.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert, 3 stars.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of don't care what Roger Ebert thinks about Dodgeball.
Also, I read his review and it was very just short and to the point. Like he didn't really say a whole lot. It's just like this is a silly, zany movie.
One thing I will say is I found a different review from our CEO, Bill Simmons, on 2004 on page 2.
Interesting.
He actually sent me it. And he was like, I forgot I wrote about this movie in 2004. So I'm going to read you Bill's review, just like the last paragraph of it. He went and saw it with his buddy Gus.
Nice.
He said, part of me hopes that the audience wasn't stoned that night and that the movie really was that good. And that Gus and I are just getting old and grumpy. They thought it was okay. They gave it Bill gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Is that why we get to do this movie?
Yeah.
He doesn't even like it.
He said, the other part of me believes fervently that the movie stunk and I'm never getting that $11 back. That's how much a ticket cost then. And since that question will never be definitively answered, I have to judge accordingly. But Bill did text me saying I very much underrated the rewatchability of this movie.
Yeah.
And I also think, the era, Bill didn't know where comedy was going, unfortunately.
I know he didn't know how good he had it.
No, and it's like only 10 years later, they'd be dead.
Yeah, we're like desperate for times like this.
Yeah, so I think looking back now, he's like, oh yeah, this movie was so much better. So yeah, it opened, it did, like I said, it beat The Terminal. It made $30 million its opening weekend. The Terminal made 19.
Cram it up your cram hole.
Cram hole, LaFleur.
I think I actually agree though with Simmons on this. Like I already said it. When I make a list of like my all-time favorite comedies, this is not a top one, but it's so rewatchable. It just moves really quickly. Every scene has either a really great line or some form of physical comedy that is hilarious. And it just like really works. There's tons of quotable lines. But again, I'm like, I don't know if it's top 20 of my favorite movies, like even my favorite comedies, maybe.
Always a Bridesmaid, Never a Bride, this movie.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it and has seen it. It's probably not in anybody's top 5.
Right.
But when you watch it, I texted all my friends, what are you guys' thoughts on Dodgeball last night? Every single one of them. Love it. Holds up great. Watched it a couple weeks ago. And I was like, really? Wow. Okay, today's most rewatchable scene is brought to you by Nissan. Find your path in the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek. Most rewatchable scenes, I'm going to hit you with 9. You let me know if I missed any. Opening montage. I love a movie that starts with a commercial, a trailer, a montage. Tropic Thunder opens with all the trailers, of all their movies that the guys are in. This opens with the montage and the White Goodman commercial for Globo Gym. We're better than you and we know it. And then I'm going right into meeting Peter and the Average Joe's customers. They do you get in and you meet everybody super quickly. It's like Owen can't find a date. Justin Long's character, the cheerleading thing.
Yeah.
Stephen Root. Who's hilarious reading, what is it? Obscure
Sports
Quarterly.
Yeah.
OSQ? Is it quarterly?
Yeah, the OSQ.
They're only putting out 4 a year. And then Steve the Pirate, who's inexplicable.
Yar.
Gar.
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 Dude, Steve the Pirate's laugh is like worth watching the movie alone. Ha ha!
He's
so
actually
good.
very good at like being the pirate.
Gar.
We meet like Peter, classic, loser living it. He's drinking like the Yoo-Hoo in the morning. He's the porn movies that he has to return.
Oh, Hussies 5,
so
Back
good.
to Video-Rama.
Drunken Hussies 3, Backdoor Patrol 5, and Mona Lisa's Smile.
That was like actually one of the most quoted lines we used to do back when I was like in college. And Mona Lisa Smile, which I never saw.
You never saw that one?
No,
that wasn't in the woods.
No.
And then Patton Oswalt's doing that voice.
Yeah.
He's also doing the line with the pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one, White Goodman tasing his nipples and pumping up his crotch and reading the dictionary. Like the first true introduction of White Goodman.
That's how I got ready for the show.
Yeah, I can see it. You look good.
I like to break a mental sweat as well.
Are you reading the dictionary?
I
You caught me.
Kate actually like calls him out on all his stuff every time she sees him, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, that's his wife.
Yeah.
Which is another weird dynamic of the whole thing.
Same thing with Zoolander. She's in Zoolander.
We should mate.
We should date. Like, throws up in her mouth a little bit. Next one, the sub-regional qualifiers against the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
To this day, the beaver tranquilizer anabolic steroid girl. God damn you, Bernice!
Right.
Gets me every time. She's also like not even in, like she's not in the opening
you don't
shot.
see her
She
before
like shows up at the
that.
end and she's like got the hair in her arms. Next one, White crashing their celebration at the bar.
Oh, that was mine.
So good.
Top scene.
The
Dirty Sanchez.
But Peter's like, didn't realize Nazi camp got out early. Did you guys skip arts and crafts? And he's like,
I did.
Yes, I did.
Also in that scene, you get a really good view of like how short Ben Stiller is.
Yes,
He is like
all
to
the
their
guys.
waist.
It is like Derrick Henry and the Dion Lewis.
Yes,
photo.
it is.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
With
so
Michelle.
The other, and also in that line when they come in with Fran, like Stalinov, I can't even say her name, and he's like, her nuclear power plant.
Yeah, right.
Won
Her
a
nuclear
dodgeball.
power plant's team won the championship.
Her
4
home
years
country
running.
of Romanovia. Nuclear
Power plant.
Dude, when
dodgeball team.
I still think maybe the funniest thing in the whole movie is just she takes out the guy standing next to the jukebox. And it's just like laying there. Justin's like, I think that guy's dead. He's just like, there's like beer dripping down. He's just like dead.
We meet the team, Blade, Laser, Blazer, my consigliere, Michelle. And then Fran walks out.
A perfect
It's just her
example.
change up.
A perfect example of what we were saying at the beginning of how this movie is like sneaky enduring quotes is every guy at some point has said, "Ball me, Blazer."
100%. I can't believe how many quotes from this movie, and we'll get to that, like have stuck.
Incredible.
And I don't even think about Dodgeball when I say them anymore.
Yeah.
So that seems great. Yeah, you meet the team. I just said that. I know you just said that.
That he knocks over the waitress carrying the gigantic. There's like 1,000 items on this tray, and he knocks her into the table.
I know. I feel like the cast of this movie really got put through the ringer.
Oh yeah, I have a whole lot on that later.
You know, there's Justin Long got the shit kicked out of
They
him.
wouldn't let him drive home because they threw so many balls in his face.
Dude, he went blind.
Yeah, he
He
did.
literally like lost his vision for a while, and he was actually worried he was going blind.
Yeah, they were like, the only way to film somebody getting hit in the head with the dodgeball is to just like hit him in the head with a dodgeball.
Right. Like 60 miles an hour from the jugs machine.
He had CTE, I bet.
Yeah.
Next one, training scene with Patches. We meet Patches,
Yeah.
played by Rip Torn, a guy I have no relationship to. Oh, do you? Does Rip Torn mean anything to you?
He's the guy from Men in Black.
Yeah, Men in Black,
Yes,
Larry
that's
Sanders Show, which I
exactly
have not watched.
how I remember him.
He's
the guy
been
from Men
around
in Black.
forever. I'm sure, you know, Chris and Sean and
Totally.
and Bill
Like
have
our
like
age
a
is definitely showing.
Yeah.
With Rip.
Yep.
R.I.P. to Rip.
I know, R.I.P. He died a couple of years ago. We get the wrenches. We get, the 5 Ds of Dodgeball.
Dude, he takes the bag. He's just like, that's what this bag of wrenches
Bag of
is.
wrenches
A sack of wrenches. There's like a big red one with, it's like, they have the entire gamut of like wrenches that are available in the world. It's like, I don't even know what that wrench is used for. It's like tightening down like a nuclear like steam pipe or something. It's like the biggest wrench I've ever seen.
Dude, when he hits Justin Long in the face, that is one of the more painful scenes in movie history.
Right.
They nail that sound. That like hitting him in his orbital bone and he's on the ground like agonizing in pain.
God. I love when they linger on someone who's in pain, like they come back.
That's a little Terry Tate-ish. They do that in Terry Tate. They were like the guy who didn't recycle and he had to pull the soda can out of the recycling bin. Very funny. The Dodge traffic thing is hilarious. Stephen Root getting hit by 2 cars, and then Kate joining the team, and and Patches just assuming she's gay. All right, Billie Jean King.
Oh man.
And then we get to Vegas, where I feel like this movie like reaches another level.
Yes.
We meet Cotton McKnight and Pepper Brooks.
Oh God, what a combo!
All-time indelible people in my life.
Yeah.
Especially Pepper Brooks.
They did the entire thing in 5 hours of filming.
Oh, really?
They weren't
just one day?
And they weren't watching anything.
They literally just sat there. They did 5 hours of filming, the announcing stuff, and left. And it is the most incredible.
Yeah, they're like, we can use that. We'll fill that in where it works. Yeah, Pepper or Bateman wearing the BMX shirt.
Yeah. Oh my God. I strive to be as happy and in the moment as Pepper Brooks is in that whole time. He's like half the time he's just like looking back at the crowd like in awe of like how fun this is.
Pepper needs new shorts.
He's Cotton. I love that he has gum in.
Yeah.
An announcer has gum in.
Yeah, totally.
It's a good, clean family fun right there.
And then we get ESPN The Ocho.
Mm-hmm.
Which has also lived on and become a huge joke. ESPN has even like weaved that into their programming over the years. Yeah.
As if the timing for the show could not be better. Literally, ESPN The Ocho, I think, is like next, after the Olympics, they're going to ESPN The Ocho.
I saw it on I was at my friend's house the other day, and just in the background, there was like the National Pillow Fight Championships. Have you seen this?
No.
They were pillow fighting, and I was like, whoa, this is like the Ocho. And then I looked closer, and it said it was like in a boxing ring. On the ring, it said, ESPN 8 the Ocho.
Oh yeah,
it has lived on 20 years later.
Yeah, because the director was watching ESPN 2 and they were calling it the Deuce.
The Deuce.
And he was like, all right.
Well, also I think back in the day there was just a lot of different ESPN channels and they've sort of pared it down.
Yeah.
Do you want the list of all the sports they have on the art? Talk about art imitates life. Do you want the real sports they put on the real ESPN 8 the Ocho?
Yeah.
Pop a shot, roller derby, crossnet, Quidditch.
What's crossnet?
I don't know. Trampoline dodgeball, air hockey, darts, disc golf, chess boxing, sports stacking.
Chess boxing?
Chess boxing.
Okay.
Is it like you move a piece, get a punch?
I guess. There's also
car slapping game.
Have you seen car jujitsu now, which is like black belt jujitsu, but you're in a car? That's a new one.
You fight in the car?
Yes, it's in a car.
Like a van?
People are in the same car or they're in different cars?
Oh, good question. Same car. That's a good question.
Otherwise, it would just be racing.
They also have cheese rolling
bumper cars.
Extreme pogo shuffleboard.
Extreme pogo
shuffleboard?
Yeah.
I want to watch that.
Obscure Sports Quarterly.
The Ocho.
The OSQ.
Yeah, so Vegas, the S&M jersey swap,
Yeah.
they beat the Germans. We get our guy Hasselhoff, our Baywatch king.
Losers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Schweine.
And then I wanted to throw in a mini scene. It's like, I don't know if this is a full scene. It's a moment. I legitimately get chills every time I watch Stephen Root get angry and like have that moment.
Yeah.
That legitimately like fires me up. It's like the Gary Bertier moment in Remember the Titans and Stephen Root getting angry in Dodgeball.
Wow.
Also, I think Root sneaky looks athletic.
He's built. He can play like lineman.
He actually moves quite well. When he like actually turns into like the Hulk and has to be a good dodgeball player for 3 minutes, I actually think him as an actor like seems coordinated. Like his throws, the way he moves, he catches a ball.
He's like Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
Fleet of foot.
Maybe is that why they did like the character development where he's always like, yeah, you got to shock the systems, you got to shock the body. I'm going to maybe blast my pecs for a little bit and then I'm going to get the glutes.
Keep
them guessing.
That was in my What's Age the Best. I was like, that is like kind of how I treat working out.
He actually knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Keep the body guessing. I'm going to do some glutes, shock the biceps, then hit some cardio. L for love. That was also a big one.
Yeah.
L for love. And then, okay, so I have next one, the final match, which features Lance Armstrong's cameo, the let them play part. Also, I get chills. I get chills at the 3-player swing. I'm such a mark.
Oh, the 3-player swing was good.
Oh my God.
Just turn the tables.
Yeah. Long catches it. and then Kate runs in, catches another one, and then LaFleur comes in.
And LaFleur like intercepts one when she's about to get hit.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She catches one. He comes in, catches another one.
Yeah.
It's a 3-man swing. All the way through sudden death. And then the end of the movie, the bisexuality thing, which is just like the bizarrest end to the movie. And then I have to add it, the post-credit scene with milkshakes.
Oh, yeah.
And Stiller. And yeah, I mean, that might have been like the biggest thing that's like people have taken away from this movie is remembering Ben Stiller doing the milkshakes dance at the end of the post-credits.
I think Marvel created a totally different relationship with post-credit scenes, like post-Iron Man and all that stuff. But this, I feel like it was like a sensation when this happened. Yeah, and also, that's the perfect song.
And then like 4 or 5 years later, Hangover had a huge like famous post-credit scene with all the
with the car falling.
I think this leads to that.
Yeah, showing all the photos of the night.
Oh, no. I was thinking of Old School. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Old School too. I also love it in the very last scene, or I think it's in the post-credits as it's like the commercial for the new Average Joe's. Did you notice that Justin Long's
girlfriend is pregnant?
She's like 19 years old.
8 months pregnant.
Just immediately have a kid. So I think my winner, I think the final match, starting with the Lance Armstrong scene through the final match, is still my most rewatchable.
I mean, yeah, you have to choose that one. Plus, you add in all the Cotton McKnight, like iconic calls. Down goes Goodman, down goes, and then he's like, "Do you believe in unlikelihoods?" Like
he will not be able to see very well, Cotton.
Oh man,
what do you guys? You have that too, Heifetz?
I think the training montage where they just the sack of wrenches through traffic. Yeah. I just it is up there with the Anchorman fight scene for me. Just the like when he starts throwing wrenches, I'm just like lock in.
I can't tell. Is this movie better for 24-year-olds or 14-year-olds?
14. I think 14-year-olds.
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm just trying to think about why this movie persisted.
It's a lot of wrenches to the face and the balls.
I know. It is very, very slapstick.
Yeah, but when does getting hit in the balls become not funny?
When
for a person?
I think 20.
No, I mean, I was still laughing.
Oh, okay.
I was still laughing too.
30?
I never is the point.
Yeah,
it's rhetorical.
Right. Okay, what's age the best?
I said the Ocho.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the ESPN thing, I have this in here as well. I think ESPN being the sponsor of the tournament like legitimized the movie.
Yeah. I think that's a good call.
Just like seeing ESPN when I watch this movie, I hate when films have like fake sports teams.
Yes.
Fake sports leagues, fake networks. Just seeing ESPN. And they actually wanted it to be Fox because Fox made this movie.
Right.
And Fox was like, we're not doing that. And ESPN was like, sure. Which is a great call. But yeah, just seeing ESPN like on the banner, I think completely legitimized the movie. I have Globo Gym as a concept because it's kind of Equinox.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like Gold's Gym. For my era, like at least when I was growing up, it was like Gold's Gym. You go there and there's dudes that are like huge.
Yeah.
And they're wearing like the little teeny tiny tank tops, you know?
But it's also like hot rich people. There's tanning beds there.
Oh, and they do plastic surgery in Globo Gym. I'm like, Equinox should also offer. Yeah, they just merge them.
Oh, maybe they do.
Plastic surgery part of it. I had forgotten about he's wheeling out the person in the full body
the mummy.
I had forgot about that.
I have the name White Goodman just as a movie villain name.
White.
It's right up there with Shooter McGavin. I think Shooter still has the belt, but it's up there.
Yeah.
WHIT. E.
I said movies that open with a commercial or a montage. Gordon's workout routine. Glutes, shock the biceps, then cardio, keep the body guessing.
That's hilarious.
This movie's 92 minutes. That'll always age well to me.
Yes.
Just so tight. No fluff. There's barely, I wouldn't cut a single thing from this movie.
Yeah.
It used to be so great. 92 minutes.
Greg, make movies shorter.
There's no better feeling when it's like, oh, we're doing this rewatchable. The movie came out in 1987. I look it up. Hour 41. I'm like, God, that's so nice. Now it's like, even Deadpool's like 2 hours, 10 minutes. The first one was 100. Anyway, what do you guys have for what's age the best?
I have Vince Vaughn's nihilism.
That's your quote.
There we go.
DK.
The apathy.
But I just like when I watched this when I was like 11 years old, and he's like, I've found if you have a goal, you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, you're never disappointed. I got to tell you, it feels phenomenal. And when I was 11,
tell you, feels phenomenal.
When I was 11, I was like, what a loser. Now I'm like 30, and I'm like, that guy has
that guy's on to something.
Yes, that guy's right.
He's like a little too nihilistic. He's like, well, we're gonna lose the gym. I'll be in my office playing Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Like, okay, guy, come on, just try a little.
Passing beer out to all of the customers at his
gym.
I put the concept of dodging wrenches as a training method is like maybe the most brilliant part of the whole movie. One of the most brilliant concepts I've ever seen in a comedy. Like, can you think of anything that you'd rather get hit with less? Like, a wrench would hurt more than anything else.
Yeah.
I can't think of any physical object that would hurt.
Pure metal.
Yeah, like if you want to train someone how to play dodgeball as fast as possible, just throw wrenches at them.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball is a timeless concept. It's so brilliant. So I got to give credit to Patches for that. And then
the wrench is good.
I was going to talk about Justin Long a little bit more, but like his physical comedy in this movie
so good.
Is incredible. He gets hit in the head or knocked over or like beat to crap in like every scene that he's in. It's amazing.
Yeah. I love Long. I've always been a Long guy. He's never really had like his movie, I wouldn't say.
You're stepping on my hot take here, but yeah.
I love I love Accepted, which came out 2 years after this movie, which is kind of, that is like his vehicle, and the movie did okay, but that was kind of like his chance.
Yeah.
That movie also has a lot of good people in it. Jonah Hill.
Justin Long's intro to the movie is him just getting strangled by like the wire machine. He's like, he has got like his leg up in it. It's just so perfect, man. He's so funny in that movie.
What else you guys got? Anything else?
I mean, just I'm not a lesbian, I'm bisexual. That aged pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
That held up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Taught me a lot.
I love that you guys learn. I love that. That's incredible.
The concept was incredible.
I was like 11 years old. I probably never heard the word.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Todd McKnight says something in the during one of the matches. He's like, from the island of Lesbos. Like,
yeah, of course.
What are you talking about?
It's Virgil the poet.
Right.
I have White shoving pizza down his crotch. I don't know why that hits more now. I think I'm just watching it and I'm just like,
it's so messy too. Like when Michelle comes in, it's like there's cheese flying all over the place.
How dare you disturb me during my private reflection period?
Michelle's reaction's great too.
Cotton and Pepper have aged great.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, the post-credit scene has set up so many other ones for years. You guys have anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right, the next category here is, what is the most 2004 thing about this movie? Lance Armstrong being a beacon of perseverance.
Right. I had that on what's aged the worst, but that works also, yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Dude, I know, it was, he said he was like 5 Tour de France's in at that point. He won 7 eventually.
Yeah.
So this was like
won 5 in a row.
Right.
Also, right after the other reason I think this has to be the most 2004 thing is how big Livestrong was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like Livestrong is this
everyone
like
had the
thing.
yellow.
I wore one.
Everyone had them. Everyone had the Livestrongs, and like this was Lance Armstrong's like apex mountain. Basically,
100%.
They got him at the absolute peak. And like Peter, when I was suffering from cancer in my brain, lungs, and testicles, I also thought about giving up. But
he was like, "What's killing you? That's making you not go to this."
I'm sure you have a great reason.
He's like, shame.
I'm sure this decision won't haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, Armstrong's good in the scene. He actually
really
does a great job.
I like how, for some reason, the way that he delivers his lines, he's like looking Peter up and down. It's like maybe it's just like a tick that he has, or he's like nervous or whatever. But he's like going like this, like, and judging him. It's so good.
Yeah, he might need to he might need to be the new like name for what's aged the worst. So we might need to change the name of that category.
Lance
Armstrong Dodgeball, what's aged the worst.
What's aged the worst?
I think the other 2004 thing about this movie is the song "Milkshake" by Khalees.
Great one.
I mean, man.
Wait, is this what's aged the worst? Or most 2004.
Most 2004.
Oh yeah, Milkshake. Extremely.
2004.
That'll come back though on TikTok. It's got to come back.
I know.
I remember also being 10 years old and being like, "What is a milkshake?"
Really?
I remember like when I was like 9. When I was like, no, not literally a milkshake.
Oh,
I meant
the metaphor.
I remember being
what does it mean?
9 years old.
Yeah,
why does the milkshake bring the boys to the yard? Like, I don't understand.
That song feels like
milkshakes.
a TikTok song. Like that song sounds like it was made in 2021.
It does. It totally. Do you have any other 2004s?
No. What do you got?
Chuck Norris being the judge.
Hell yeah.
Chuck Norris. I had that too. Like Chuck Norris being like a big piece of pop culture, but also kind of like punchline jokey.
Yeah.
Like I guess like he didn't really know whether he wanted to come on this movie because
they had to kind of gas him up.
Yeah. They didn't know whether they were making fun of him or not. And apparently he just flew in on a helicopter, did his scene, and then flew off in a helicopter.
He had one line.
Like Chuck
Thank
Norris,
you, Peter.
Like just thumbs up. Thank you, Chuck Norris. And then the movie closes with him saying, fucking Chuck Norris.
This is absolute poppycock.
I actually had forgotten about the ending of the movie just being fucking Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
I was going to say, from someone who was in college during this era, 2004, no Grundle at the very beginning. And then later in the movie, he goes, "What's a taint?"
Yeah.
People my age obsessed with the words Grundle and taint. And Gooch.
Yeah, Gooch became popular.
Like big. People would love talking about taints in the 2004 era.
And you know what? It held on through my collegiate.
You guys had that too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
Taint, Gooch.
Yeah.
You're like, what's a taint? I don't know. It sounds bad.
Grundle. The
very
dog
common
just,
phrase.
Like, sniffing. Like the movie opening is just a dog like
it's the first
moving
thing he says.
his junk around.
The first thing he says in the movie is like, no Grundle, no Grundle.
That feels nice.
Yeah.
No Grundle.
Next award here, Big Kahuna Burger Award for best use of food or drink. I love.
Oh, this is.
I mean,
there's a lot of choices here.
I actually love White stuffing the hot dog in his mouth as soon as he loses the final match. He hits the kid to the ground. He like launches that kid to the ground and shoves the hot dog in his mouth.
I mean, it has to be either the pizza down the pants or the donuts with the nipple like electrodes on his nipples when he touches the donut.
Yeah,
but it has to be the pizza down the pants.
The pizza.
Private reflection period.
The Vincent Chase Award for Are We Sure This Character Was Actually Good at Their Job? Kate Veach? I don't know.
I put that too. She doesn't really do like a lot of work on the whole thing. And then she starts just fraternizing with the clients or the people that she's trying to take down. Or whatever.
She's just like going out to beers with them immediately. She's never in her office. She's always just hanging out at the gym.
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of the whole point of his character, but Peter is a horrible businessman.
Oh yeah, I was gonna honestly. How
does he have employees?
I would give the Vincent Chase Award to Vince Vaughn because he hasn't collected membership dues in 13 months. Should totally go out of business.
Right.
Like that's the entire.
How did this ever get open? Why is he an entrepreneur?
He should not own a business. Like let's be real.
We'll just do it now. Let's get to the CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford's hottest take award. LaFleur sucks.
Yeah.
Like LaFleur sucks. How did he get this job? How did he own a gym? One.
Yeah.
He slept with 3 Globo Gym trainers in a day.
Just a man slut.
He seems completely fine with giving up the gym. Like you said, hasn't collected membership fees in 13 months, accepts a bribe.
He sexually harasses Kate the first time he sees her.
Definitely. Low-key alcoholic.
Right.
Lets all those other guys push his car.
Yeah,
he
like
just sits in the past. Yeah, he just sits
the
in the
gym definitely should foreclose. There's probably a million health hazards. And he's just like not that into the whole thing, the entire movie.
Justin Long's out there like almost hanging himself in the gym by accident. And he's like, oh, you do that again.
Yeah, but he's giving all these misfits a place to hang out and be themselves. And he's encouraging it. I mean, I think he says all the right things, but also he kind of just sucks.
He sucks. He's not a good hang, Peter LaFleur.
Should I step on recasting couch?
Do you have a hottest take, either of you?
Yeah, we do hottest take.
I was going like truly right along those same lines. By the way, we went back and re-listened to it was the old school one, right?
What?
The Chris Ryan, Luke.
Yes.
Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford. I stumbled upon that in the wild. I was like dying. So good. the actual take that happened. And Chris and Bill just couldn't let him live it down for the rest of the pod. I went right along with the spirit of this topic. And I thought Justin Long was really good. I really liked Justin Long in those days.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Justin Long could have been his generation's like Matthew Broderick. How about that? Like kind of a lovable doofusy guy, but also has some charisma to him. Like in Accepted, he's kind of like a Ferris Bueller type of character.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's got some charisma. He gets the girl. He does like some wacky things. I really like that movie. But he also has like a lot of range. He was really good in Jeepers Creepers. That was the first time I saw him. He was like the terrified kid, who eventually meets this crazy ass demise. But hilarious physical comedian. Again, I thought he was like incredible. There were so many just cut ups of him just getting hit by the dodgeball like in the head or like in the crotch or just like there's one where he's like in a fetal position.
It was the trailer for the movie, right? It was just 60 seconds of him getting hit with the dodgeball.
It's so freaking funny.
I do agree. He's a floor lifter. He makes every movie better. You're never upset to see Justin Long. And he's worked so much, but he's never really
took off after Accepted. He was in Waiting, which was a funny movie, like kind of a low-key funny movie.
Like, unfortunately, he could have been also on the list of what's the most 2004 thing about this movie. It's also kind of Justin Long.
He was the Apple spokesman.
The Mac.
Yeah.
Mac guy versus the dorky.
With John Hodgman?
It was Mac versus PC.
Wait, was the PC guy
John Hodgman?
Who's that?
He was the other guy in the commercials.
Oh, I was thinking for a second it was the dude in this movie who plays
Stephen Root?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty positive it's John Hodgman.
Check on that.
Yeah, but he's been in so many movies. He's just like the 5th guy, 6th guy in every comedy.
Yeah.
He was good in New Girl. Yeah, I love Justin Long.
Yeah, he was good in New Girl.
Do you have a hottest take?
My hottest take is that Ben Stiller is the best Nepo baby.
Wow. Ever? What do we do? Like
Well,
in Hollywood?
Hollywood.
The
Or at least like, I
Even
don't know,
that's dicey. Hollywood, I have to think. Wow. Did you come up with a list?
I mean, there's a lot. We could go through the whole, I mean, depends how you count, but I basically think that
David Ellison just bought Paramount with his dad's money.
Well, I think he has the title belt. I think that David Ellison has the belt right now.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, that's pretty great. Bronny James is probably second. Although, is it really like LeBron's actually gets the the dad, like he gets the helicopter dad award? Because I feel like Bronny hasn't actually done it. I'm talking like the Nepo baby who like started with the head start and then actually is good of their own right. Like Kyle Shanahan is actually good. He's a Nepo baby. I think Ben Stiller stands on his own feet.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, like LeBron's the helicopter category. David Ellison, I don't know what I'd put him in. He's just kind of doing fun stuff with his money.
Stiller has gotten to the point where you don't like when you find out Jerry Stiller's his dad, you're not like,
whoa,
it's almost like reverse Nepo. You're like, oh wow, Ben, like that's Ben Stiller's dad. I like that. I'm trying to think of other Hollywood Nepo babies. There's so many.
I mean, Jamie Lee
Curtis. Yeah, I mean the recent one. Did you guys see the Please Don't Destroy guys for SNL?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did the Nepo baby sketch with
Dakota
Johnson,
yeah.
which was super funny. But those guys, I think, are really funny. Like they are kind of in that Stiller zone where you're like, okay, 2 of the 3 of them are Nepo babies. But every time I watch their videos, I'm like, okay, they actually they have it.
It's like the Kyle Shanahan thing. They grew up around football, so maybe they grew up around comedy, so maybe they just like know how it works, and they're actually funny.
All right, next category here: the Butch's Girlfriend Award for the weak link of the film. To be honest, don't really have one.
If you had to pick someone, you almost picked Vince Vaughn, but I don't think you picked Vince Vaughn.
No,
I don't think there's anyone.
He's not the weak link.
I don't think there is
funny.
one, honestly. I think this movie's crisp.
I put if you really like have to pick one, the Owen character.
Oh,
he doesn't do a lot.
You don't like the Owen and Missy Pyle relationship?
I mean, it's fine.
I will say I agree with you that Owen is like a kind of a weird character, but I also
he
think
just like gets benched and then he doesn't really do anything.
But then I actually think the stupidest best bit in the movie is that he like,
didn't know
who's Steve the pirate.
That's actually really funny.
Like, there's a guy in our friend group on our team who dresses like a pirate.
Yes, that's a very like 2004 style joke.
Yeah.
Scurvy. Yeah,
it's like not ringing a bell.
Not ringing a bell.
All right, what stage's the worst? We mentioned Lance Armstrong. There's some language that doesn't hold up. I think the stereotype teams in the tournament, the skills that kills teams, a kamikaze team, like that stuff doesn't really work anymore. The bisexual thing is definitely used as a gimmick. Vitamin water. It's like a huge feature of this movie is vitamin water.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Jake was telling us, Jake Kring-Schreifels, who wrote that oral history, he's saying one of the producers met someone from Vitamin Water and they like agreed to like feed the cast, so they put vitamin water in the movie or something like that.
Yeah, vitamin water.
I actually drink vitamin water.
Still?
Yeah, I think.
Really?
I mean, not like a lot. I've had it a few times lately.
You've had it a few times
right?
lately.
Paid money for it?
What does that mean?
It's like if it's on a shelf somewhere, I'll grab it.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a vitamin water.
Dude, it's kind of like I saw that stuff Mio the other day, and I couldn't believe they were making that Mio. And but vitamin water.
Is vitamin water still around? I'm pretty sure I've.
You're the one
who had one.
I know. I think that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure I've drank it lately.
What did you or did you not?
Yeah. What is going on?
I don't pay attention to what I put in my body. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've had it. Yeah, it's still around.
I feel like
it's fine.
It was early on in the like flavored sports water. Remember Propel?
Oh yeah, what happened with that?
All those died and got replaced with new stuff.
Propel also still exists. That was the other one I saw recently. Propel exists. I couldn't believe it.
Vitamin water's fine.
It is fine. That's correct. I have for what stage the worst? Justin Long's haircut. Worst haircut of all time for a man.
Of all time?
It's bad. It's a terrible hair. It's like stringy, hanging down over his forehead, bowl cut.
I think
also, Vince Vaughn's hair, terrible. Terrible male hair other than my boy White.
White.
The feathered
and lethal.
What do you guys have?
Oh.
I said everything Patches says, basically. Is like,
yeah, generally.
Yeah.
Not great. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I had, obviously, Lance Armstrong is the bright,
all
shining,
time.
Yeah, like, example of
him being like
age.
A motivational figure of hard work.
I think the thing that ages the worst is that the climax of the movie is that Vince Vaughn bet on his own team to win. And when I was 11, I was like, dude, that's so smart. And now I'm like, dude, this is a year-long suspension at least. This is a huge Jonte Porter situation. Like, this is a year-long.
What are you talking about? He Pete Rosed it. He bet on his team to win. Jonte bet against himself.
That's true. But this is a Calvin Ridley. This is an 88.
It should be legal if you're betting on yourself.
100%.
This is a huge.
That's what Pete Rose has been saying for 40 years.
It's a thing that we encourage everyone to do. Bet on yourself.
Yeah, bet on yourself.
Do you think 50 to 1 odds was correct?
It was 12. It was 12. I thought it was.
No, he put out 100 grand on 50 to 1 odds.
Oh, yeah.
This was my. All right. This was my.
I think it was the right line. Right odds.
Well, this is my picking nits.
50 to 1 in a championship?
Feels ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is my picking nits. Is any sports book taking 100 grand at 50 to 1 on a dodgeball game?
Maybe it was off the book.
And then they're like, aren't you the guy on the team? Aren't you the captain of the team?
Yeah, there's a few like you could pick nits, I guess, with some of the plot lines. By the way, I think it's really funny. In the final scene, there's like the pot of gold or whatever or the pot of money that comes in, and on it says Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Which, for those who don't know, I'm sure most people listening to this pod do. It's like an act of God in a movie that like changes the outcome of what everyone. It just says it on the pot of gold.
Really
like
funny.
Deus Ex Machina. Yeah.
Okay, the Ruffalo Hannah Rubenek Partridge Overacting Award. These movies are always tough to give this award because everyone's kind of going for it. I think Stiller in moments.
Yeah, it's Stiller by far.
But like most of them work though.
Right.
I think, and are completely warranted. I think
Right.
there are moments like I think when he hits Kate in the face with the ball in the final match, and he gets a warning, and he's like,
"Come on!"
He's doing like a baseball man,
Sweating like a grease monkey out here.
Yeah, that's the worst call I've ever seen in my life. We're sweating like grease monkeys out here. How would you call it? He's like doing like a baseball manager yelling to an umpire type thing.
Yeah.
That's a little bit.
And he's
hot.
waving the little red flag in front of like.
Yeah.
"Oh."
Everything he says in the entire movie is overacting, but it's like the reason you want to watch the movie, so it doesn't matter. I mean, like the scene where he's doing the weightlifting and Michelle is like spotting him, and he's like, "Involuntary spasms. Watch the show. Watch the show." Like just like that is him the entire movie. It's so good.
But to me, this award is about overacting that doesn't work.
Okay, but that's
Because
Well,
I think 90% of his lines to me still work.
So here's my question then: is Steve the Pirate the first overacting character?
Right.
Like just the entire concept?
Is to just overact.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around how they came up with that.
I could. Well, in Jake's piece, which again, Jake Kringstreifel's amazing oral story for The Ringer. The piece was apparently they thought that was the litmus test for when executives would read the script and whether they got the character
Right. If
or
they
not.
thought that was funny, that
if they like Pete,
like they
or,
knew Ball.
Steve
It was
Pirate.
their like brown M&Ms for Van Halen. It was just like they were
Yeah.
like they knew Ball if they got, and I guess that the woman who ended up greenlighting the whole project and shepherded it through Fox basically was like the first
She
thing they
loved
said
it,
when they
yeah.
walked in was like, "I love Steve the Pirate." But yeah, where did that come from?
See, this is what like AI could never write Steve the Pirate. He would never think of it. It would never think of it.
Although I bet it was a hallucination though.
I know. Even if I was given that spec script, if my friend gave me the Dodgeball script, I would probably read it and be like, I don't know about the Steve the Pirate thing.
There are some ideas.
I don't know.
Where even if someone could go back and be like, "I got an idea. It's going to be like a taxi service where you get in the car with a total stranger." And I'm like, I wouldn't have invested in that. And like, no, same thing. I would never have been like, keep the Steve the Pirate thing.
I know. It's so funny how that stuff works. Okay, next one here. Is there a better title? Is there a better title for this movie? No.
No.
Way.
It's
no
a great
way.
title. The Can You Dig It Award for the most memorable quote.
Clear my
How
schedule.
much time you got? I don't know. You want to each pick 3?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm going to go with in terms of how things have aged, like how much they have worked their way into the lexicon.
What is
I
still
think
in
two are-
like cycle?
I think
think
there's 2 or 3 that would just like are Mount Rushmore.
I think bold strategy cotton
Mhm.
is
People
huge.
still say that. Let's see if it plays. Let's see if it
See how it
pays
plays
off.
out.
bold strategy cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him. Yeah, Balmy Blazer. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
I
Yeah.
love that one.
Well,
Love
if
that
you
one.
can dodge a
Dodge
wrench,
a
you
wrench,
can
dodge
dodge
a ball.
And
That's-
also the 5 Ds of dodgeball.
Yeah. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
I
They
think
use that
Loki, the funniest line in the entire movie for me is LaFleur after he has to go talk to the team after Patches dies, and he goes, "Yeah, they don't really make a sorry your dodgeball coach got crushed by 2 tons of irony Hallmark card." He literally gets crushed by a Luck of the Irish sign. I thought like forever I've thought that's the most hilarious line of the movie.
I love Patches saying, "Tomorrow we're going to pecker slap those Globo bastards."
Oh my God. Dude, Patches, he's like, but I drink my urine because it's sterile and I like the taste of it. Like the shit he says in the movie is just wild.
I said, is it necessary to drink my own urine? Every time someone said necessary for 15 years.
But it's sterile and I like the taste.
The way he delivers every line is so funny.
Also, I've seen the Great Walls of China. I've seen the Great Pyramids in Egypt. I've even seen a grown man satisfy a camel. Unbelievable.
Everything White says to me, just cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur.
Joni loves Chachi.
I know you. You know you. I know that you know that I know you.
He has like 4 conversations with Peter in this movie where like
all the tongue
Peter
twister
is like,
shit.
What?
I know that I know you just said that.
Yeah, you just said that.
Touche.
Touche. I feel like touche also is incredible.
I think like a couple of the quotes that are not like as funny but are still in the lexicon are, I read about it in a book.
Yeah. In a book.
In a book.
I love that'll buy you one hell of a Blumpkin.
God, dude.
Didn't know what a Blumpkin was.
Yeah, this is another 2004ism, I feel like. The Dirty Sanchez, the Blumpkin, like there was a big trend for naming sexual acts.
Yeah, it was like Urban Dictionary's rise.
Yeah, Dirty Sanchez, all that stuff. Alaskan Pipeline. Look that one up.
I don't know about that one.
Any other quotes?
You're about as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop. Rip Torn.
Even the way he's like
sending it.
I actually that's my judgment for quarterbacks. It's like Desmond Ridder, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat.
Yeah. The best That Guy award. A lot of options here. I think our threshold for who qualifies as a That Guy is much lower than that of Bill, Chris, and Sean, who know every actor.
I think I know just as much as Sean.
Yeah, you probably do. You should go up against him in a quiz show.
Yeah.
Like for me, I think Gary Cole, I know Gary Cole's name, but I think for average people, they're like, oh, that guy. The guy from Veep, the guy from Talladega Nights.
Right.
I think Gary Cole kind of qualifies as a That Guy. Alan Tudyk, I think, qualifies as a That Guy.
That's Steve the Pirate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris Williams, the guy who plays Dwight. I don't know that guy's name. Every time I see him,
he's Crazy Eyes Killer, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then the ref, who every time I see that guy, I'm like, the ref from Dodgeball. That guy's name is Al Kaplan. He's a real ref.
He was a ref for American Gladiators?
Yeah, he was a minor league baseball ref.
He did a great job in the movie,
Fantastic job.
Except for the part where he waited about 10 seconds to like announce the foot foul on the final play. Everyone's like celebrating. The announcers are talking about it. And then he's like, stop everything. The foot was over the line.
You got the call right. You're such a hater on that.
It took him way too long.
Isn't that better?
The call right. That's the point. You were such a hater with referees.
Yeah, he should have done it quicker.
Who do you guys have for that guy?
Booger.
Booger? Which one's Booger?
People in my generation will know what I'm talking about. He is the officiant or whatever of the regional match where they get in.
Oh.
He played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
He's the guy who's like 3 anabolic steroids and one.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and
he
has just been Booger for me for my entire life. I don't know his actual real name. I just Googled Booger. That was not the right way to do this. Actor. Let me see what his actual name is here.
That is a good one.
Curtis Armstrong,
right.
But he's been a bit actor, I think, in probably like 100 movies since, but I just see him as Booger every time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know as many actors' names. I mean, if Sean Fennessy knows the guy who plays Steve the Pirate, I don't think that counts. But also, I just think, that Gordon, that he's the uncle in Barry.
Right.
That
Stephen
really
Root.
was wow.
Yeah.
He was the guy from The Office. Sorry, no, Office Space.
Yeah, Milton.
Milton.
Yeah,
That's like where I know him
Yeah.
from. Yeah.
I know. I kind of think all these
And
guys
Gary
qualify.
Cole, by the way, who's Lumberg in Office Space.
Right?
Shit, Lumberg fucked her. Dude, Lumberg in that movie is like an all-time character.
All right, Dion Waiters Award. There's a million options here.
Yeah. Again, I think the definition is probably different for us.
Well, I don't think anyone on either of the teams really qualify. I don't think anyone in Global Gym or Average shows qualify.
And Patches is in the movie probably too much to be
I think
Dion
Patches
Waiters.
is disqualified as well.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious then.
I think it's Bateman.
100%.
It's right.
Yeah, Pepper Brooks.
Pepper Brooks.
Yeah, he has so many great lines. He will not be able to see with that. Yeah, that's a great one. I think that's the obvious one. I was going to throw this out, but we already talked about it. Patton Oswalt. just doing the voiceovers for Drunken Hussies 3, Backdoor Patrol 5, and Mona Lisa Smile. And then he's like describing in detail how to cook a pizza later.
Also, that's who's the guy in the Celtics who came in only to shoot the half-court shot and he made it?
Peyton Pritchard?
Yeah, I think that's Oswald. He came in for like 3 seconds and he made a half-court shot.
We hit the Rewatchables quota of mentioning a Celtic. Nice.
There we go.
There you go. They were doing Bill
I
Proud.
thought Gary Cole and Jason Bateman are like...
Yeah, I think together.
They're just sending it
as a
every
duo?
scene. Yeah.
Separating the awkwardly feminine from the possibly Canadian.
I love that he's like, this hasn't happened since the 1919 Helsinki episode, and we all know how that turned out.
Pepper's just like looking at the crowd.
I was young enough when I saw this movie that I thought that was a real thing.
1919 Helsinki.
I thought something had actually happened.
All right, recasting couch director City. How do you guys feel about Christine Taylor? In this movie, kind of in all these movies.
I think, yeah, it's a good question. I think she works pretty well. I think the one thing that like makes it funny or weird is that she has unicorns in her house. Like she really loves unicorns.
That was a random, looking back on that, I'm like, I don't know why that was in the movie. That probably didn't need to be there.
You're right. I want to see like a whole different scene on that one.
I think they needed a way to make it seem more plausible that she would like hanging out with these losers.
Right.
So they needed to make her like a bit of a weirdo as well.
Right.
But I don't know. I never leave a movie being like Christine Taylor. I'm going to remember that performance. I think she's always fine.
I liked her.
Same with Zoolander. She kind of is just kind of a 5 out of 10 for me.
I think she's even better in Zoolander than this one.
Yeah.
I liked her in both.
I think she's, I don't know.
I remember when I was, live watching these movies, like she was like super hot, like really funny actress. Like she I think like nails the, like, she's really beautiful and also can like, like I said earlier, she's like calling out all of White Goodman shit the entire time in like a really wry way. I like that.
I had a suggestion, Courtney Cox. I thought would be great.
That worked
for Kate.
Or, I mean, Jennifer Aniston. Could you have pulled them off Friends at that point?
Aniston, I think, was probably too big to play that. I think Courtney Cox was still big too. It was 2004,
right?
But
making like $1 million an episode on Friends at that point.
Lisa Kudrow. I don't know. So the other part of this category that I like is when we spin it forward. I want to do 2024 recasting couch. Who would play Peter and White today?
Ooh.
And it's so damn hard.
Yeah.
It is harder than ever to figure this out. There's like barely any actors in their 30s to even name. In my head, I'm like, I think Glenn Powell could maybe be White Goodman.
Yeah.
He's too like athletic.
Well, he just
I
didn't see the movie yet, but
Hitman.
Right, where he like plays a whole bunch of different characters.
Yeah, he flexes his chops playing kind of zany characters in that movie.
How old was Vince Vaughn when this was filmed?
They're all like in their mid-30s.
Like 30s.
So I'm like, Miles Teller, Adam Driver. I've really want to do a comedy. I think Adam Driver is
I could see that.
Awesome at comedy. He's great on SNL.
I could see that, yeah.
That
would work.
It's just so weird now that like we don't have your go-to, late 20s, mid-30s actor that you're like, oh, like we have a studio comedy. Who's in it?
I could see Adam Driver running Hussies 5 and also Mona Lisa Smile.
What about Andy Samberg for White Goodman?
Oh, that's pretty good.
I could see that. He's got the hair.
Yeah. And he's got the ability to like go super
be
weird.
Wacky. Yeah.
I don't know. No one's slapstick anymore. You don't see these like outlandish characters.
How old is Hader? He's probably too old.
Oh, wow.
For right now, Hader. I know that he's 46.
He could play younger.
Yeah, maybe. Hader would be really funny.
Wait, do you like him for the Vince Vaughn role or for who do you like? Where do you like him? I was thinking Vince Vaughn role.
I know. Well, Hader kind of did that in Trainwreck. Do you see that movie, Trainwreck, with LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of played the straight man in that. You don't often see him as the straight man. I guess Barry a little bit, but then that kind of goes haywire.
LeBron won't pay for anything.
Yeah, he won't pay the tab at like a coffee shop.
That's a good bit.
I forgot my wallet.
All right. Is this movie better with Tony Romo or Chris Collinsworth for director's commentary?
I would pay pay-per-view to get Tony Romo
on
this announcing set.
Dude, I think Tony Romo bases his whole persona off of Pepper. Like Tony Romo is like just a less out there version of Pepper.
He's putting the blindfold on, Jim. He's not going to see very well, Jim.
Double fault, Jim.
Yeah,
113D.
I just wanted Craig to do the Romo impression, but like truly, he's like, "Oh, I'm so excited, Jim." Like he just is, sort of unprepared, really not like buttoned up for sure. Maybe like a little hungover version of Pepper.
Yeah, we need Romo in the BMX outfit.
Also, by the way, there's a really funny story about the unrated version of the DVD. I haven't watched director's commentary in forever, but like there's a director's commentary on the unrated version of the DVD, which is fake, where Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, and the director are all talking, and like Ben Stiller's 20 minutes late. They're all mad at him throughout the whole time. They get in a big fight. Halfway through the movie of the commentary, they leave, and then the sound guy like freaks out and puts on the director's commentary for Something About Mary for the rest of the movie, and that's just like a little Easter egg.
Oh, that's really funny. Movie. All right, half-assed internet research. There's a lot here. I'll keep it to just like a few nuggets. So this movie basically kickstarted the dodgeball boom across the country. A bunch of leagues popped up.
Yeah, I remember that.
For all the actors, we touched on this a little bit. It was like a pretty rigorous training regimen. A lot of people got banged up. There were twisted ankles, maybe concussions.
Justin Long went blind.
Ben
Stiller threw a ball and it hit his wife in the face.
Yeah, they used a jugs machine to shoot dodgeballs at people.
The jugs machine. The sound effects of this movie, by the way, are amazing. Like
perfect.
The balls hitting the dodgeballs hitting the people in the face is like the perfect sound. Like it transports me back to like middle school playing dodgeball.
When you guys played dodgeball, I feel like our generation they had phased out the rubber balls because they were too.
We had foam balls.
We had foam.
We had real like dodgeballs.
Those were heavy, huh?
I don't know if like heavy, but they were kind of hard.
I feel like you basically played with like a kickball.
It's like getting slapped in the face.
Yeah. They had phased that out between you and I. That's probably why you can't remember anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But the sound of the rubber is incredible.
Ours were those foam ones that like if you threw it, it was basically a slider.
Like slows down.
Yes, exactly.
It like had a natural curve to it. By the way, this is my dream. Being an actor in a sports movie where all you do for like 2 months is train and learn how to play a sport is like my dream in life. Like I remember Glenn Powell was talking about Everybody Wants Some, the Richard Linklater baseball movie. And he was like, oh yeah, just like 2 months. We just
played baseball?
Yeah, played baseball in Texas, kind of hung out, went to bars. I'm like, God, that is the coolest thing in the world. There's some funny Rip Torn stuff. It basically sounds like he had no idea what movie he was in.
You can see it while he's after you know that fact, when you watch him deliver his lines, you're like, this guy has no idea how he got involved in this movie.
He's like, why am I saying these lines? But it kind of makes the movie better.
All right, Smithy.
You know the final scene where he's looking at his patches of Houlihan thing that he's going to put on his face. He's like,
the bandana or the
you can do it. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Like, to me, I'm like, he's like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah, that was a weird moment. Like, I felt like that could have been funnier, but I don't know.
The delivery.
I love him saying bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, he also doesn't really, like, insult him. It's not very Patchesy. He's just like, remember your training. Good luck.
You can
Bye-bye.
do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So weird.
Yeah, there's weird stories about him. They're basically like, he didn't seek this project out. We kind of had to coax him into doing this.
Right. He was actually mean to Justin Long.
Yeah, and then he was just like leaving set all the time. They basically had a handler for him to try and like make sure he wasn't leaving. He was like,
it's Christine Taylor's brother.
Yeah. And they would like he would like get in a van and drive away for hours and hours and like miss scenes. They shot this at the Cabrillo High School in Long Beach, the Vegas tournament. They used sports camera operators that came in that were used to shooting football and basketball. Looks good. I like the sports shots.
I know, and that's actually why, like you're saying, you got goosebumps. It actually feels. It's an absurd sport to cover for a movie. You know, it's like something you play in elementary school, but it feels like you're into it. You really get like drawn into the action of the movie.
Gordon getting fired up.
Dude, when like the solid hit, like when you see someone get hit really solid and they like load up and actually like come in and just hit him really hard or whatever, like 2 balls at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to go play.
Yeah. Well, you know, we should have mentioned Gordon's wife as a potential overacting award. She's really cooking.
And also like age the worst.
30 seconds, yeah.
How's that going? Really, really good.
Really great. Really, really great. The Average Joe's jerseys are based on the Hoosiers jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
A lot of the seat fillers in Vegas were like from a halfway program or were on like work releases.
They got like kind of rowdy.
Yeah, they were just like getting anybody they could kind of thing. And then Vince Vaughn was taking everybody out to strip clubs at night while they were filming.
In the Vegas part.
He was like the real life, the person that everyone glommed onto.
He was like the on-set glue guy.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently they were I read something where they were at a strip club at like 4 a.m. and Chris Williams, the guy who plays Dwight, was like, I got to go home. We have a big day tomorrow. And Vince Vaughn's like, you're not going home.
He's like, gave him $400.
Yeah. He's like, we're going back out there.
No, he ends up $400. He's like, make me proud.
Yeah.
Like,
He winks at him.
Do you have any other research you want to hit?
Just that Missy Pyle, who played the Fran on the Globo Gym team, originally that character was supposed to be a fembot.
Yeah.
Like Austin Powers.
Forgot the fembots!
Just a robot.
All right, Apex Mountain. I think Stiller, it's like right around this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's in the discussion.
I mean, he had 4 movies come out this year. Probably I know that Something About Mary was probably his biggest hit.
So 98 was Something About Mary. 2000, Meet the Parents. 2001, Zoolander and Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
But while we're checking off the rewatchables, like while we talk about what it actually Apex Mountain means, if it's supposed to be the peak of your clout and ability to do
most
things,
juice,
he got a movie made about dodgeball. Like Ben, I feel like this has to be this stretch.
Yeah, with a first-time writer-director.
And then if you
shepherded that.
If you look after it, so in 2004 he had Along Came Polly, which is great. Dodgeball, Anchorman, he was a
Starsky
cameo.
and Hutch.
Starsky and
and
Hutch.
Meet the Fockers.
Meet
he
the
had 5
Fockers.
movies.
Meet the Fockers.
I think this has to be Apex Mountain.
Was Meet the Fockers?
That's
it
the
was
sequel.
big, but like I wouldn't list it as one of my favorite movies ever. But I remember it being like kind of a big deal at the time.
Are you talking specifically about the sequel or the franchise in general? Because Meet the Parents is the original, which was huge.
And he's still making a movie with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Like
Meet the Parents was in 2000 and it made like $300 million.
Right. And then after that, it was Night of the Museum, Tropic Thunder. I think you could make the argument Tropic Thunder was his apex, but I don't know.
I think it's now.
I think it's
04.
Yeah, it's 04.
Vaughn, I would say maybe Wedding Crashers.
I would.
It has to be Wedding Crashers,
which is just a year later, so he's close
it's
to.
Ish. It's right in there.
Christine Taylor, I'm going to say yes. The Sport of Dodgeball.
That's what I put.
Trillion%.
Right? Completely revitalized it. Stunt casting in a movie. These are hard because I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of all films, but Hank Azaria, Lance Armstrong, Chuck Norris, William Shatner, and David Hasselhoff are all in this movie. An $18 million comedy from 2004, and they got all these people to be in this movie.
And like half of them were like, oh, I know him.
Yeah.
So let's bring him in. Like, I think that was one of the producers knew David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
He had worked with him or something.
This is one of those things that every time I listen to this show, I don't understand how much movies cost to make. Like it cost $200 million to make. I'm like, how? And I'm like, oh yeah, $18 million for this movie. Also, we helicoptered Chuck Norris in to do 30 seconds. And I don't really understand, but yeah, like getting Lance Armstrong and Chuck Norris in a movie that's under $20 million, it makes me not understand what they're doing with 150.
You know, we didn't mention Armstrong for Dion Waiters. He's up there.
He's just not, I feel like he doesn't.
If you had to give a cameo Dion Waiters, it's probably
Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, the half-court shot.
Yeah, half-court shot.
I got another one. International Talk Like a Pirate Day in 2004, Apex Mountain. Couldn't have got much better than that in terms of that talk Like a Pirate Day, folks.
Wait, was Pirates of the Caribbean also 2004?
Oh, yes, it was.
This was maybe Apex Mountain for Pirates.
Apex Mountain for Pirates.
Oh, it was 03, still.
Oh, still, that's stretching.
You don't think it was actually, you don't think the Pirates Apex Mountain was actually during like the late 1700s?
Like the Barbary Wars?
Actual pirates?
No, I don't know. Just a thought.
Fighting the Fountain
Blackbeard?
Yeah, Blackbeard. Yeah, it's tough. This was like a little this is like the last Warriors title. This is like the end. Yeah.
Apex Mountain for air-pumped baseball cups for your crotch. It's this or doesn't he do it in Austin Powers? Doesn't he have the pump?
Oh, does he? Well, he has the penis enlarger pump.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
maybe that's
that
what
when
it
it
is.
comes
But it's
out
not
cryo.
in his pants.
They had like a pump going to Stiller's crotch, and there was like a guy behind the desk like pumping it up.
Apparently, I think I read that they tried a whole bunch of different types of things. They had like something that would like inflate down his leg too, to like make it look, something is. Are you just happy to see me, or is that something in your pocket?
I have a funny quick story. When I out of college, I lived in New York for a year, and I was a PA on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the Tina Fey show. And there was one day where they were trying to like rig a machine to Fred Armisen's pants so that he could wet himself. And they needed somebody to test it out because I guess Fred Armisen wasn't going to do it. So they brought me down.
Oh my God.
And I just stood for like an hour on stage. And John Hamm was sitting there watching because he was in the scene. And they were just figuring out, and I would just get a new pair of pants on every 5 minutes, and they would just have me wet myself and be like, "Oh, does that look like an authentic, pants wetting? No, right. it's that's way too heavy of a flow." And I just did that for an hour. So I always love like stupid shit, like Vince Vaughn or
they're actually like
pump,
trying to like engineer something. Yeah.
I just remember going home that day, and I just like called my parents, and I was like, "John Hamm and Fred Armisen just watched me pee myself for an hour."
Oh, that's
the
good.
American dream. I think it's Apex Mountain for announcers in movies.
Oh, wow. Great one.
I mean, the first thing I thought of was the movie Major League. And shoot, I'm blanking on his name, but he's like an actual Hall of Fame baseball announcer. Let me look that up real quick. I just listened to the Major League Rewatchables.
Is it Vin Scully?
No, it's I'm just blanking on his name. He has a really famous name. Hold on.
This is good though. I mean, this is up there. I know that the original Longest Yard has like an awesome announcer.
Yeah.
Bob Uecker.
Bob Uecker to me is the first thing I think of when I think of announcers in movies. Like that's an all-time performance.
For fake sport movie announcers, easily these two.
For a non-real major league sport. Yeah.
The only other one I'll throw out is Apex Mountain for cash in suitcases.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh, that was
when they open it, it's like, it's not very impressive when you
ever
see it.
You ever see what
translation.
$100,000 looks like? It's just like 10 bills.
It's like one rubber band in this suitcase.
All right, best racehorse. Oh, actually, no. Cruz or Hanks?
Cruz, the Cruz and Stiller connection. Do you remember how Stiller used to do the Tom Cruise
But you
impression?
think Cruz as Peter?
I think Tom Cruise could have been White Goodman.
Yeah,
I think if he does the Tropic Thunder impression, like there's a version of that's White Goodman.
I agree. It's Cruz as Goodman, but it's absolutely Hanks as Peter.
He was doing Terminal. But yes, he could. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
If Peter's a star of this movie and we have to pick one role to like get this category going, I do think it's got to be Hanks for Peter, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that, I guess this is a stupid question, but do you think that Vince Vaughn is the star of the movie, or is it Stiller?
I think it's Peter.
It's Vince Vaughn's the star, but on paper, but
Peter's the
watch,
protagonist.
Right.
He's the protagonist, but Ben Stiller's the star.
Right.
Yeah. Best racehorse, rock band, wrestler, or fantasy team name for this movie.
Go.
Purple Cobras.
Yeah.
Great. Even just like Patches O'Houlihan as the name of a horse.
That would be a great horse name. Patches O'Houlihan.
I had a couple. You had me at Blood and Semen.
Sure.
I'm thinking like racehorse names here. Ipso facto, I'm your boss. Great line. That's actually another line that I said all the time.
Ipso facto.
Ipso facto, I'm your boss.
That was how our show started.
Well, like you're his boss, whatever. Ipso facto, I'm your boss.
Bank works for me. You work for the bank. So ipso facto.
And then fantasy name, the fitness consiglieres.
Ooh, that's good.
My fitness consigliere,
How about
Michelle.
just fucking Chuck Norris?
Oh, that's actually good. Fucking Chuck Norris.
All right, picking nits. Look, this is a movie called Dodgeball.
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't the 50K be taxed?
Isn't 50K like not very much?
Well, he needed 50K, but even if they won that, wouldn't it be taxed?
Yeah, you split it 6. Yeah, you take taxes
like
out
like
it.
50%.
He got like 32 of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know how that would work.
That'd be a funny way to end the movie. Actually, it wasn't.
Also, you couldn't buy a controlling interest in a company with $2 million. Like LA Fitness is worth $2 billion.
Right.
Like he buys Globo Gym with $2 million.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, the actual thing that hit me now that I feel like I'm old is the idea of a bank sending a real human being to help a small business file their paperwork.
What takes the worst?
And I'm just like, but the picking nits, and I'm like, I feel like you can't even get a human from a bank on a phone now.
Do gyms like this exist? Like Average Joe's? Where they're just like dilapidated, barely running, and nobody goes to
gyms where they care about the wellness of the people as opposed to just collecting membership
It's funny,
dues.
Craig, because I had sort of the opposite impression. I'm like, in the scenes where they're at Average Joe's, there's like a lot of people there. It's like actually doing okay.
15 people.
And it's relatively put together. Like the building looks shitty from the outside, but the inside is like clean. They have like towels for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't as bad as they make it seem.
You would go to Average Joe's?
I would go to Average Joe's, yeah.
What do you think it costs? What was the monthly membership fee?
13,
Zero.
$13.
No, I know. What do you think it was? $5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple questions. How old is Patches supposed to be? So
It's unanswerable.
Well, I guess you could put that too, but like in the video from the beginning
with Hank Azaria.
Yeah, it says 80 AA since 1938, and I think it had a copyright in 1954. So that'd be 50 years before this movie.
It's in black and white.
And he was like a 40-year-old man in the video. Like, is he 90?
Like 110.
I actually looked up how old Hank Azaria was in 2004, and he was 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I'm like, Patches is not 90. That's just a picking nit.
He looks great for 90.
Yeah.
Also, like, there's some confusing timeline stuff in this because in the opening scene, it says 6 years and 600 pounds earlier, this was 1987. And so that would have made the movie 1993.
Oh, I did not pick up on that. Look at you questioning the timeline of Dodgeball.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the reason I did is because I was trying to figure out how old Patches was. I'm like doing like
you're like
the
carbon
math.
dating this movie.
I'm like fucking looking deep into this. But so it says, so I guess like it's like implied that this is from 1993, but then Lance Armstrong is in it and he didn't start winning his titles until like
I think
1999.
set 04.
Yeah, I think it's an 04 movie.
But I think they started out thinking it was supposed to be 1993.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, we got to get Lance.
I think it's weird that so when they have the qualifying round, the sub-regional round against the Girl Scouts, they have team jerseys that kind of look exactly the same as the new ones. And I'm like, where'd they get those? They're just yellow average Joe's jerseys.
One day. Yeah.
And then Owen gets them new ones and he basically just looked like he laundered the old ones.
Probably
They
had
should've kept
shirts.
the
They probably
S&M
had
ones.
shirts at gym though. They probably had shirts for like some softball game or something. They probably had them around.
Peter LaFleur seems like he's the type of guy to
Yeah,
buy
he's to
everyone
shell out for
softball
shirts.
jerseys.
Oh, he let someone else do it for him because he doesn't do anything.
And then so at the end of the movie, it is a double lane violation, correct?
Yeah.
Peter does not look like he steps over the line or gets even close.
No.
They're saying
White
they
Goodman
didn't-
steps over the line, but
And
during
Peter.
the throw, no. He gets the throw counts.
But it's a double lane violation.
No, it's a double fault. No, it's a God. We're parsing the
Well, they mentioned it earlier because they were like, we're going to.
113D double fault. He steps over the line, so White Goodman's out. But in the action of stepping over the line, he hit Peter with the ball. So
How is it a double fault?
because it's I don't know. They're making it up. It's like the throw shouldn't count. White should be out because he hit the movie, but they count the throw for whatever.
Like the
reason.
rule doesn't make sense. If he steps over the line and then hits Peter, the game should be over. He should be out.
right.
Why do they get to go to sudden death? That's like such a break for White.
Or like a redo.
Yeah, it's a redo.
It shouldn't be sudden death.
And I don't understand why it's called a double fault. I thought they were implying they both step over the line.
Right.
Like Peter steps over the line when he hits Michelle.
No.
And
Was
then
it the
White,
second time he stepped over the line, like in like a double fault?
No.
No.
Never understood that.
There we go. That's way too in the weeds.
Really
but
bothers me.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, I mentioned the sportsbook taking 10 grand on 50 to 1 from a bet from the captain of the team.
Yeah.
A guy like Peter would never own a company. He would never
100%.
have.
I don't
He
know
would
how
never
got this
filed
shit.
an
He would never
LLC.
have employees.
Yeah.
I know. Because they joke that White started the gym because of his dad's wealth. And I'm like, I feel like Peter's dad also gave him the shit.
Right. That's actually a really funny line. And a generous
Donation from my father.
Inheritance from my father, Earl Goodman. Like, just drop that.
Earl Goodman. All right, sequel, prequel, Prestige TV, All Black Cast, or Untouchable. Just don't touch any of these movies.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I hate sequels. They made Zoolander 2. It was terrible. Anchorman 2, I'm still working through. Complicated feelings. But like, just don't ever.
I feel like we're a few years away from a sequel with like Live Dodgeball.
Oh, yeah.
Like
The Saudis.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I think if you had to make one, I would choose a prequel because I would like to know how the rivalry started between these two guys. And
Oh, Peter kept having sex with the employees at Globo Gym.
yeah.
well, yeah, but I would like to
So
see
you just want
that.
to see Hussies 5.
Like, it sounds like Peter was actually instigating the
Maybe
acrimony.
your take that Peter is the worst
Peter's
is actually
the
right.
worst.
Peter is a bully, and that set off the
Peter's
whole
awful.
Globo Gym thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that he's actually the protagonist. Maybe White Goodman's the protagonist.
White's trying to just get people in shape. New category, fantasy drafting the players from Globo and Average Joe's.
Oh, there we go.
We are the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, so I thought
that's
this was perfect. Who's number one pick?
I don't know the
Oh.
difference between Blaze, Laser, and
It's Blade.
Blade, Laser, and Blazer.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
they're in the same tier. Yeah,
They're on the same tier. Is number one, like, when does the first Average Joe player come off the board? Is it after the entire run of Globo?
After all the
Yeah,
Purple Cobras.
Globo's the Warriors. Average Joe's is like the Hornets.
Fran doesn't do a lot. She's hyped up.
I think Fran. No,
She's a robot.
I think Fran might be my 101. I think she just didn't play well.
She
because
killed a guy in a bar
She killed
with
a
a
guy.
changeup.
She fell in love with the guy on the court
Yeah, that's
All
true.
right,
and then
well,
got hit.
Weak link.
I think it's Michelle, 101.
Oh, yeah.
Hit right on the dome.
Yeah.
So big, so strong,
Yeah.
nimble. He caught the ball that hit White.
Yeah.
That was good. That was big time.
Yeah. Who's your number one off average Joes? Are you taking Peter or Kate?
I think it's got to be Kate because she's got the cannon and she can catch.
Yeah.
Peter can do it with his eyes closed.
You think Peter's 101?
I mean, it's got to be Peter.
He might not even show up to the game.
He took a bribe for the team.
Oh,
Yeah,
he showed up.
He's Kawhi
He showed up.
Leonard. He's
Yeah.
like, we don't even know if he's going to play.
He's
load managing
He's the
himself.
ringer.
Everyone's like, where's the best player on this team? And everyone's like, I don't know. I think he's at the airport.
Dude, sneaky.
He's like Peter. He's like, I was all state. I'll put it wherever I want. Make it rain.
Do you think that's what
He's
happens?
the exact same character.
Wait,
in
do you think
both
that
movies.
is what happens with Kawhi Leonard? He just runs into Lance Armstrong at the airport. He's like, all right, I should go back.
He's
to
like,
the
"Fuck, I'll go
team."
back. I sneaky think Gordon might be my 102.
I kind of like that.
He's a gamer.
Blast the glutes.
Kind of
Keep
a
him guessing.
boom bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
All right.
an old guy.
Just
Yeah.
got to get him mad.
Just one Oscar. Who gets it? Stiller?
I think yes.
Script?
I put Rip Torn.
Oh, you love Patches. You fucking love Patches.
Dude, he's just like he's 100 miles an hour in every scene.
Yeah, he's Paul Skeetons. He's throwing 105.
Because it's sterile and I like the taste.
So weird.
All right, probably unanswerable questions. So are Peter and Kate and Joyce in a throuple now?
I don't know. That's a good question. It was like
what
sort
happened?
of open ended.
Yeah. How is that?
I think yes, because they actually set it up in the beginning with when you find your three people. Like,
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
one of the fifth lines he says.
Yeah.
I like how you know her name.
Joyce.
Pete,
Joyce.
Kate, and Joyce.
I thought you were in Guam.
Such
I got
a-
an earlier flight from Guam to Vegas.
Yeah, they have multiple a day.
Pipeline. Feeder flight. I think this is my ultimate takeaway every time I watch this movie is like, why isn't dodgeball more of a thing? Like, dodgeball's a great sport, right?
That's a good question.
Shouldn't it be in the Olympics? Handball's in the
And I was
Olympics.
gonna say
Yeah, how is
they're already
handball in the-
playing handball.
You know what I was thinking? This is maybe a picky nit, but like dodgeball, it's a short game. It has to be like 3 out of 5.
Best
or 5
of
to
7, I think.
Because it's like everyone's out. Half the people are out like a minute into the game. It's
Yeah.
like probably 2-3 minute games.
I think you do best of 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch it honestly.
Yeah. How do we have? Yeah, we have breakdancing in the Olympics. We don't have dodgeball. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Like handball,
the scene with the breakdancers. I think they're doing a little bit too much breakdancing over there. The guy's like doing like the moonwalk. He just gets nailed.
yeah, I feel like dodgeball is a few tweaks away from being like a really engaging sport.
Yeah.
Well, you played it in PE, right? In high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's weird. I don't know why it's not a thing.
It's a good point.
What do you guys have?
Do you think the pizza down the pants feels good?
It's gotta be
Yeah.
scalding hot oil.
Well, you make sure it's the right temp.
You just make sure it's not scald. You wait.
Okay. Well, no one explained that to me.
It probably doesn't feel bad. It's like a hand. It's like a hand warmer.
We're getting into like American Pie territory
yeah.
here.
Right.
I was gonna say there's some weird, vague Nazi references with the ADAA.
Oh.
You think it's like?
He
like
also Peter accuses White of being a Nazi.
Right. You think
Yeah.
ADA is like part of Hydra?
It's like so the video with ADAA. It's the Uber American Institute instructional films,
And it started in 38.
and
Oh.
it's like a German thing, and the leader of dodgeball is the chancellor.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god! And they have
Like,
a
what are
scepter.
they? I'm like, was there like a different timeline that they just ended up cutting out of the movie about like how the Dodgeball Association was like started by the Nazis or something? I don't know.
That's
Like
honestly,
maybe
that's a
Patches
great
is
call.
actually secretly just an American Nazi.
Wow.
Wow. Okay,
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
it's an unanswerable question.
We should ask the director.
Maybe
about
his
that.
fall from grace came because he was a Nazi.
My other unanswerable
Patches.
question is: do you think Tom Brady ever took a low grade beaver tranquilizer?
100%. Will Levis is on it right now.
Yeah.
Got a dart in your neck. Jason Bateman, how is he not aged in 20 years? He looks exactly the same right now as he did then.
Yeah. You look, man. Hollywood, you can do anything.
Yeah, I think it's
He
just
might
plastic surgery.
he might be a better, like, less of an age than Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd's another one whose like forehead hasn't moved since he was
Right.
25.
Yeah.
Best double feature choice for this movie. I went Talladega.
I think that's good because it's like a sports movie. I wrote down Basketball, Happy Gilmore, Kingpin, like another kind of slapsticky,
Mhm.
you know, weird sports.
Yeah.
Or like less common sports. I guess Happy Gilmore's obviously huge, but bowling and basketball. I think Wedding Crashers,
I had Wedding
frankly,
Crashers,
just because
too.
Vince Vaughn is so funny in both of these movies. And
Wow.
he's like essentially the same character. Wedding Crashers is sort of like a sequel. Like
Yeah.
Also, I just had like Zoolander, just because you have many of the same people, but you also have Ben Stiller with his wife and his dad, and everyone's just kind of killing.
Which we literally did this week.
Yeah,
on the fantasy
we watched
show, right?
We watched Zoolander and this movie Dodgeball. Like,
do you guys think White Goodman or Derek Zoolander is the preeminent Ben Stiller character?
Zoolander, I would say. He made 2 movies.
Yeah, but we don't talk about
I didn't actually see the second one.
I think Zoolander is incredible, but actually, after watching this, I think White is like more in mainstream culture than you think.
Cram it up your cram hole.
Yeah, White is incredible. I have a better time spending time with White Goodman.
I know you.
I mean, that's not the question.
You know you.
Well, what was the question though?
Ben Stiller's character, it's Zoolander, probably.
I mean, I think White Goodman's funnier.
Well, yeah, I agree.
I think the star of Zoolander is Hansel, frankly. I think he's the funniest.
Yeah, I think it's probably Dodgeball.
The things around Zoolander are funny, around the character, but White Goodman itself, just in and of itself, is funny.
Yeah. All right, the Andy and Red Zwane Award for what happens the next day. We do kind of know, this movie tells us, they open Average Joe's, they take over Global Gym, everything's
Justin knocks up his girlfriend.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, Justin knocks up. What's her name? Denise?
Denise.
I feel like Kate realizes Peter's a loser and leaves him.
That one threesome and then
I was gonna say like Peter becomes addicted to high stakes gambling, and like
he loses it all and they have to do it.
You know, the deer hunter. He's gonna turn into like he's gonna just get right into just like Russian roulette. Just go right into it.
Yeah, he's betting obscure sports quarterly.
I could see that.
What piece of memorabilia would you want from this movie? I mean, the 2 jerseys on either side. I think the Globo Gym QZs, the purple ones, are sweet, and then Average Joe's jersey's great. The sudden death dodgeball is pretty cool with the skull on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
It's silver.
It's like silver.
Yeah.
It's like on.
Looks like the Raiders
on
logo.
The thing that he picks up.
The thing I want, no question, is I want the giant painting in White Goodman's office. And where he's like grabbing the bull by the horns. He's like, that's me.
That really happened.
It's a metaphor.
That really happened, though.
Really happened, though. I want that painting so. And they said it exists. That usually
it's a real painting. Yeah, they like put his face on it.
Yeah, had it in his production office.
They had it in his office. They said it's somewhere. If you are listening to this and you know where that painting is, I will pay anything for that painting.
That should go in this studio. Bill would buy that.
Actually,
Bill,
point.
If you're listening to see how we did,
please
buy.
This it's painting. A metaphor. That really happened, though.
It really happened.
He does that a lot in the movies. Like, but seriously, I got him.
Yeah, the shackles in the back.
But I'm serious. I got him. I was going to say the Luck of the Irish sign.
Oh damn!
2,000 pounds of iron
patches.
I thought that was the funniest thing for like 10 years.
Yeah,
got crushed by 2,000 pounds of irony. The pump pants.
Yeah,
why not?
That'd be a fun party trick.
The coupon for 1 free back rub from Peter LaFleur.
Even that, like, slightly creepy.
Yeah,
it might turn into a whole body. It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If that's now a line 20 years later you would give to the villain.
Also, like, what's Peter doing? Like, he just walks into her house. I smell cookies. Barges right into her house.
Yeah,
she walks into
like
his hotel room later.
Sneaky predator.
The only thing that he tries is to be a creep.
Yeah.
The only thing he has any effort in.
She just walks into his hotel room later, like no key.
I was picking
it. It was open though. It was open.
Okay, but like you can't. I don't even know how to leave a hotel door.
What hotel rooms are open?
But it was open. I think she like pushed it and it opened up.
I don't know.
Whatever. She's creepy too. No, I don't know.
The Coach Finstock Award, best life lesson.
Gamble on your own games, Pete Rose.
Bet on yourself.
Always put $100,000 on a 50 to 1 underdog bet.
Yeah.
Also, just like get in where you fit in.
Oh,
well, that's actually really nice.
Like Average Joe's, I'd go there.
Oh. Yeah, what does White say? He's like, I know your whole thing. It's like, I'm not okay, you're okay, but that's okay. I was like, that's kind of a nice little slogan.
There's some like motivational signs in the gym or whatever. It's like, they're just like takes on like pain is just or what is it? Just leaving your body.
Pain is weakness
leaving your body. But that's
like the Marines.
Yeah,
but they're all like pain. It's fine. You'll try better next time or whatever. Like, there's some good messages there.
All right. Who won the movie? Stiller.
Do you think it's Stiller? Or do you think it's the director who just came out of film school, made a Super Bowl commercial, and then made a movie with the people he wrote a script for immediately?
Stiller.
Not Peter?
No, it's not. It's not
Vaughn.
You don't think the guy who won the movie is the director who just like wrote a script for Ben Stiller and then got Ben Stiller to make it with his company?
But to be honest, it didn't like propel him in any. I mean, he's had a career. He's directed like Central Intelligence. He did Skyscraper, We Are the Millers, and Red Notice. In the moment, I can see the argument, but also Ben Stiller got this movie made. It made $160 million.
Oh, that's true.
And he's like now one of the most iconic sports comedy characters ever.
Yeah, and also it launched Stiller into like the animated kids movies I'm doing for a ton of money from my children.
Madagascar.
Madagascar and like Night at the Museum, which aren't like prestige or anything, but
yeah.
I feel like actors, when they reach that level where I'm going to take the biggest check and my kids will like this, is kind of like another level.
Yeah. I think it's Stiller.
That's fair.
I mean, it's still incredible that like what Ross and Thurber was able to do, but you have to go Stiller.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, that's it.
Wow.
Rewatchables. Dodgeball. Danny Heifetz, Danny Kelly. Listen to us on the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. We're in full swing. It's August now.
It's a podcast of violence, exclusion, and degradation.
That's right. Yeah, doing 3 episodes a week. You'll be able to watch this episode on YouTube if you want. Ringer Movies, our YouTube channel. And we will see you next week. Who knows if Bill's coming back? We don't know. He said it was going to be the end of the feed with Pulp Fiction. Now we're here. Next week, I'm not sure Bill's coming back either. I don't know. So we'll see.
This will be the last one.
Yeah. We're canceled.